documentary on Donkey Kong, Nintendo actually, and they started as a playing card because Japan cards were illegal because they were they were used for gambling.
Oh.
So they had to make these like artistic things, these artistic cards, hand painted and everything. And the way he painted them, you could use them as playing cards. So the mafia started using them all regularly, and they would use a new deck every game. So he was selling a lot of them, and that's what got him started. He was a construction worker, and then got into that, and he like almost he had Nintendo had like instant rice. It had fucking all different kinds of shit. This toy that like expands. It's like a trash picker upper thing, but it's for like a kid's toy.
Oh.
Yeah, and
then they hit gold with.
And then they loosened the laws on the gambling in Japan, and they started to do gaming cards. But he had tried so many different things to make so much more money because the person that started the company playing cards had passed away and passed it on to his son-in-law because he didn't have his own son. And his son-in-law took over the name. And then same thing happened. The next generation, he didn't have a son. He's going to have his son-in-law take it over. I think the son-in-law passed away or wanted to do something different and said, fuck this. So they found one of his like nephews or something like that, or they came back to the son-in-law, something like that, and he's like, the only way I'll do it and take over the company is if everyone in the family is fired. Everyone that works for it that's from the family is fired, and everyone there knows I'm the boss.
Coming out guns blazing.
Yeah, so he almost bankrupted it like 2 or 3 times, but he had this one creator that created that hand thing I was telling you about, and then he created a handheld, not like the first Game Boy. It was basically the very first Game Boy.
Like from Surf Ninjas?
Huh?
Like from the movie Surf Ninjas?
Something like that.
Rob Schneider?
But then it evolved, and then they started Donkey Kong, and they got sued by Warner Brothers or something like that because of King Kong. But they won. The Nintendo actually won that. They lost from suing them. They didn't get in trouble for it. And they created Mario Brothers. And Mario, the reason he created that was because he was it was their landlord's name. That anytime that he would come there and yell at them, and he would like jump up and down like this character that they were creating in this video game, to where he was jumping up and down, and they gave him a hat and overalls because it was easier to do on for graphics instead of hair.
Yeah.
And, so that's kind of the start of it. And then somebody, the lawyer that helped them win the case against Warner Brothers or whoever for Donkey Kong's likeness was something Kirby, and that's where Kirby came from.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so
that's the cool thing about video games is like a big thing with them is like Easter eggs or just like nods and shit, and like I like that shit, especially these big massive games. Have you ever heard of Red Dead Redemption 2?
I have heard of Red Dead.
Dude, this one is the most beautiful video game story ever told of injustice and justice, I guess. But the second one, like the first one's fun. The first one's amazing, but the second one is so immersive. It's so massive. There's just constantly new stuff that you can just do and find. That this game's been out for like almost 10 years. There's people still putting out things that people have never seen happen in the game that people just haven't found yet. And like,
I have heard of that. I have.
I mean, there's one time I was playing it. I played like,
I think it was you that was telling me though.
I played like up to like 300 hours at this point. And I mean, this is by no means a lot in the world of this game, but out of the blue, I'd finished the game hours ago. I'd come across this field, and in the field there's like a patch of woods, and I see this flame go up. And I was like, all right, I'll go check that out. And I get there, and I can hear talking, so I sneak up, and it's a clan meeting starting. And I was like, I was going to kill him just because it's like, fuck the clan. And I was like, well, they put him in here for a reason. So I watched the whole thing, and like it's like almost an Abbott and Costello sketch where they're talking about how flammable their coats are. And then they light the cross, and it falls on them. And they all fucking burn up and die, and like it's very dumb. It's almost very similar to like the Quentin, where he's like, "That's our mask" kind of thing. It's very dumb, and like, but And then like there's a fucking swamp area in the map, and if you go there at night, not every time, just every now and again, if you go there at night, there's these people, there's a group of people called like the swamp people or something. They just hiss. They don't, and they're like lesser than the Hills Have Eyes, fucked up looking, but they're like supposed to be ghouls, and it is horrifying because you don't hear them coming up. All you hear is this like hissing out of nowhere, and your horse freaks out. And like you're just playing the game, you're just not thinking of shit, and then next thing you know, you're attacked by this family of
Inbred
it's fucking
West
terrifying.
Virginians. No, I'm
Some
kidding.
straight West Virginia, some wild and wonderful whites. CVS took her baby. It's their fucking Taco Bell drive-thru. I've met one, not one that was in the movie, but a white that was in West Virginia. He deployed with a buddy of mine in the Marines. They came back, and actually I met him because I had a white, so my 25, the Wild and Wonderful Mike's of West Virginia birthday party. And so he brought him because he's like, oh, I think it'd be cool. Halfway through the party, I'm talking to him, like getting to know him, and he finally looks at me and goes, by the way, he's like, I joined the military. He goes, because my side of the family is absolutely and utterly embarrassed by how my family acts and the fact that they become this national thing and like people are celebrating them. And I was like, yeah, it might suck, because it went over my head that he was literally saying, I don't like when people celebrate my family, like celebrating at their birthday. And I was like, man, that must suck. Yeah, I get that. I was like, well, thanks for coming. Like walked away, like just completely unaware that like this dude who is like, mind you, 3 days back from a fucking Marine deployment in Afghanistan, which fucked up my friend Donnie. So apparently something happened. Then he immediately goes to a birthday party celebrating the worst part of his family that he got away from. It's just like,
Yeah, I could. I've got that part of. I've got a part of that family. A part like that. It's my mom's brother, my uncle Scott, and my cousins and everything. Like they are the definition of just like they're not like bad people. I mean, they're not great people. You know, they've done some fucked up shit. But
who has it?
yeah, well, shit, I remember my cousin Michael, his sister Tasha was pissed off because he wouldn't get up and do his chores before the parents got home. He was laying on the couch, and she went to and tried to pick him up by his ear, and it ripped his ear halfway up. So his earlobe and everything, nothing's attached. Like it's all ripped, and it's fucking wild. They are the. Like you, yeah. Like they're
Like this is an episode of Shameless. Like, what am I watching?
like they were. I think my uncle Scott. I didn't know him as this. Like he wasn't smoking crack then, but he was a crackhead for a long time, and then I guess cleaned up because when I met him, I went and stayed with him because we were having issues at my household, and I went and stayed there for a few months, and he had a nice house. He had nice house, nice cars, nice fucking instruments, all the kids. But he worked. Him and my aunt Kelly worked literally from sun up to sundown, like until like 10, 11 o'clock at night. They were general managers or something of Papa John's, I remember, and they worked all day long as the general manager, and then would deliver at night.
Papa John really runs their employees while he sits there and eats pizza and gets fat.
and be's racist.
He was sweating. That's why I can't live like. There's people that like. My parents worked nonstop, blah blah blah, and it's like, bro, that's not a life. Like,
Yeah,
that's miserable. Like,
when they're like, oh, when people talk shit, they're like, oh, 40 hours. I remember my first job, my first part-time job. It's like,
it's like, and I'm also in touch with my feelings and can be a little sensitive sometimes. It's not. It's nice. Like you can.
I know I work a lot, and everything I do is revolves around work of some sort. Even everything I do, like,
It's shocking how much you work.
I mean, I do the same thing. I look at it this way: I take breaks. You see, you've worked with me. I take breaks. I chill.
Not the worst days, that's for sure. Like they're not the hard. Like
Yeah, I've worked. Yeah,
I mean,
like,
I'm not saying like it's easy, but I'm saying like you make working with you. It's like I can imagine this job is very hard when you're working for somebody who's just yelling at you.
yeah, and it expects like you to do everything while they're gone in the truck doing paperwork or whatever it is. that they do. But yeah, no, I've had and that's I guess that's why I am as good. Part of the reason I am. I've learned so much and have done so much. Just being thrown into the fucking deep end, sink or
It
swim.
scares the shit out of me.
Like, and that's sometimes that's the way people just, and I learned that way too. But I'm also, that's something like my little nephew Gabriel was here for the past month. Little dude he's freshly 18. He's, so much like me. It's not even fucking funny. Besides, like,
Get the shithead.
he is, but besides, like, his schooling, like, because he dropped out of high school like a dumbass. But I dropped out, but I didn't drop. I finished. Big reason is because of the credits that I had here through at the beginning of my junior year. And if you go to Carolina and enroll in that school, you have enough credits from freshman
Okay.
and
Yeah, yeah.
sophomore and junior year to graduate. So I pretty much what I did is, and what I told him to do is, I didn't finish my like at my high school. I went to a community college and I did the GED.
Okay.
I did it all within a day. I took the practice test, got signed up, took the GED test the next day, and was done with it.
Walked out like a
Graduated it with
superstar.
honors, is what they said.
Fucking high five.
Yeah. And then I got my diploma in the mail. But I got my GED early so I could enroll into college. I rolled into college because I was able to get a paycheck from the government because my dad lost an arm.
That's a gangster move, though. To be like, fuck it, I don't even need to graduate on time. Like, I'll get out this bitch early and with honors.
Well, yeah, a lot of my friends had gotten out early because they had done like like all the extra shit that you can do to basically have half days or whatever on your senior year, which I thought it was dumb. Like if I'm out, I'm out. Like I'm not coming half day, especially not in the morning. Fuck that.
I think the most offensive was my senior year. When I got my schedule, my 7 classes were like, first hour was fitness walking, second hour was fitness, volleyball, badminton, and tennis. Third hour was outdoor education.
How's
Fucking, I was like,
volleyball, badminton, and tennis fucking a class for
I
a
think
credit?
the only reason we had that class as a credit was because the coach that taught it was a 19-something Olympics backup for the badminton team. And so he taught, like, dude, he was there for like 10 years when I was a student, and he would play students as they wanted willingly, and he had never lost except to one kid who spent all 4 years in his class at different gyms, and he got obsessed with it. But I played him one time. This is a big boy, like he was a big man, and he floated. Like I've never seen the agility like that on somebody, and I was like, all this for fucking badminton, dude. I was like, imagine if you would have played a real sport, like you would have, like, without the Olympics. Like, if you would have done something that people cared about, like, you probably wouldn't be teaching Francis House Central High Schoolers, like, how to play fucking badminton and volleyball. Which was...
So what was this figging story you had to tell me about? Not figging, but
Jankum. So Jankum, the story goes, is they say that there's never been a reported incident of this being taken in prisons or anywhere in the United States, that it's a myth, but they also can't say what the fuck goes on in other crazy prisons. But Jankum is basically, the idea is you take a shit, you take a pee in a bottle, you take a balloon, you put it over the top of that balloon, you let it sit in the sun and ferment into that balloon, and then you puff it. It's called Jankum, and it fucks you up. And it's supposed to be like a jail thing. And like, it's such a, like, deep down, I know how shitty people are that somebody's done it. Like, you can lie to me all you want, internet. Somebody's definitely done this.
yeah.
Like, probably willingly. But it's like every now and again I'll say it and somebody will be like, you know, Jacob? It's like boofing. Like, when people know boofing, it's like this mental, like, yeah, you rascal. Like, I'm like, most people just know it because it's a meme. I fucking lived through that shit.
Yeah, that's gnarly. Like,
it was a lot more gnarly than I expected it to be. I was expecting it to be like, okay, it's just another ROA that I'm not going to do.
I've done some time. I've been in and out in my younger days. Never heard of it.
I don't. I honestly think Jankum's more of like a joke thing, because it's like, I don't even know where I heard it. I think I heard it in like middle school, like some stupid thing a kid's brother said.
Yeah.
But like, Boofing's the biggest one because that's where
Yeah,
but people been boofing for a minute.
dude, I remember, and I called my boy Box up back when I lived in Virginia Beach. We all lived there. I was dating this girl named Amanda, and she had a twin sister named Amber. And they were identical twins. We called them the Durr twins because
Perfect.
they weren't the brightest.
Mm.
And they had this speech impediment. I don't know why but they talked like if they were like maybe a little deaf or something, had some kind of speech impediment. They were like, I don't know, dude. Yo, dude, I want to party with a keg every night, dude. That's what we used to always. That was them right there every time.
That's hard to be around, but you get a little bit drunk and then you just think that they're a little bit drunk, and then everything's good.
Yeah, well, they were pretty sexy. They were definitely hot chicks, but and they were identical twins, so of course. But I hit my boy Box up, and I'm like, yo, I just got some ecstasy, and this girl and her twin sister want me to stick it in their ass. How far do I like? What's the
That's a fair question. That's
how
a
do
very
we?
fair question.
And he's like, I don't fucking know.
You
like,
called me?
so I was like, I guess one knuckle, two knuckle. Like, what are we doing? Are we like, like?
Shit, I don't know. Do one. Call me back. Tell me what happens. I don't, like,
Yeah, but that was he tells that story sometimes. It's fucking hilarious the way he says it. But
on High and Dry right now, because we are technically a harm reduction server, you can go into our harm reduction page. You can go to our pin notes, and you can find a very detailed, very medically worded guide on how to properly boof, and it is hilarious because it's taken so seriously, and it's just like, guys, we're just putting drugs in our butt. Like, it is not hard. There's not that many steps.
When I originally heard it, it was called parachuting or something like
Parachuting now is more just swallowing, but putting it in like a
napkin or
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah, that was the same thing. You put it in, you rolled it up into like a ball of toilet paper, pretty much,
Yeah.
or well, like just a thin layer of it, and
Well, I mean, you have to do it different ways, like, because method's water. You put it in water, but then like ecstasy, I think you just put the ecstasy pill up there,
yeah.
which is fucking gnarly as fuck. Like,
Yeah, once you find out, like, once you actually do a test kit on like an X
Like-
and on E pills, like, well, I've tested some in my day,
sits there for a minute.
and the shit that's in them.
I mean, I put meth in my butt, so what the fuck do I know? Like, I mean,
I've never done nothing like that.
I did it. I did it one time. I did it on Zoom for my friends too. That's how stupid of an event. Like, I thought it was just gonna be a breeze. I was like, I'm good. I use drugs every day, and they're like, it's like injecting, and I was like, injecting's just a fucking quitter's way of getting out of things. I don't know what that meant, but that's what I would say. And then I remember I was downstairs at our house, and Angel was going to work, and she's like, "Are you really doing this?" And I had a fucking baby syringe in my hand, naked, the most ridiculous I've ever felt in my life. And I was like, "Yep." And I put a captain's hat on, and she was like, "And you're really doing it on Zoom?" And I was like, "You goddamn right." And she's like, "Is this like a sex thing?" And he was like, "No, they're gonna be seeing my face. It's just my friends." And I on Zoom, I specifically remember like doing it and then thinking, okay, now what? And then like the Star Wars things, and then Angel shaking me and being like, "Have you moved?" And it was like, "No, I don't know." And she's like, "I worked a double, and the syringe is still in your butt." And I was like, "Oh fuck, I'm never doing that shit again." But I also like, I didn't know people weighed their doses for anything ever, and like apparently they do every time. And like, I don't do drugs. But yeah, that's just pussy shit. I ball that shit. That's terrible advice.
Yeah. Wait a minute. People weigh their speed.
Every dose, smoking, snorting, banging. I mean, not a lot when they smoke. When it comes to smokers.
Yeah, I thought they just filled their little.
That's what I always.
I thought they filled the little pookie thing, the bubble, and
because like the people that
anytime I've ever been around it, fucked around with it,
I think the weighing
I
was
just
more
filled
like
up the bowl and roasted.
fucking pimps. I think like the weighing in the thing is more important. It's like all in one. Like snorting, it's that thing is all at once. Smoking, you get a minute.
Yes.
Like it's not all there. So like that kind of makes more sense. In banging is so fucking dangerous.
Yeah, I've never done any needles. Never want.
No
Never.
interested.
Yeah, I remember what turned me off, besides everything else that's involved with heroin, was one guy was trying to get me to do it with him, and he's like, "Man, you like weed? You're like big pothead. It's just like weed, just like 1,000 times better, man." And I was like, "Then I don't want nothing to fucking do with it, because I got a problem with weed right now. Like, I don't want to touch that shit at all, and I don't want to be around anybody that does it. I really don't. I don't have a problem. I don't care. I'm a pro supporter of legalizing all drugs and making them available and allowing regulations to be done, state wide testing on the drugs, just like we do at the cannabis fucking grower when I grew, and in the dispensaries and shit like that. All that weed goes through the state. Well, a sample of the weed goes through the state, so you know what's pesticides, what if there's molds or anything like that in it. And that's why I try to harp to the little ones, the little dudes that would be fucking around and partying, like my little nephew. I was like, dude, just go buy a fucking test kit if you're gonna be fucking around with shit. I was like, mushrooms, all right. Like,
I'll send him 7 to 8 fucking free ones that he can get from Walgreens. I have that shit all the time. I used to just take them and throw them out at homeless people, not at homeless people, but where homeless people live. I'll just leave them there. So you get free ones from High and Dry all the time.
yeah, I like I've always tested like my LSD. If it doesn't come back the ones that I always used to test on were purple. I think it comes back royal purple pretty
I've
much.
seen I think that's the one we usually get.
And so that's legit LSD. And if it doesn't, it comes back like like
Yeah, don't take the yellow acid.
yeah,
Like,
it shows up like it's either doesn't show up at all because it's nothing, or it shows up as a different form, like bathtub LSD, like LSA
well, okay.
or whatever.
The shake and bake of LSD.
Yeah. My buddy Gallstone, as we always called him, he was like the human jukebox. This guy fucking was amazing at the guitar. And I think he was in one band for a little while, but he could play anything. If he heard it, he'd listen to the song once or twice, maybe repeat a part, rewind a part, and then just fucking sit there. And he was that type that could not listen to somebody else play the guitar because he would call out all their mistakes. Like we had one buddy, Aaron, he would always try to play Bad Fish all the time.
Just Wonderwall.
No, not Bad Fish. Date Rape was the one he would always play.
Just a classic.
Yeah, but he'd fuck it up every time. And Gallstone would get so pissed at Squad for that shit.
That's wild. Like that kind of, that's not a skill. That's a gift.
Oh, it really was.
Like to be able to do that.
And you and Alex are so much alike. He's the type that comes up and met the woman he's still with today. Met her dad for the first time, went up and was like, "What's the difference between me and Jeffrey Dahmer?" Because Jeffrey Dahmer didn't have a bunch of dead babies in his fridge. Hi, I'm Walston. How are you doing?
And you go by Walston? You're a serial killer. Like the fuck?
And he looks like one. He used to. He did a lot of dumb shit. He got me arrested one time for helping diffuse the situation in the police and everything because the neighbor somehow, I guess, got some of his mail and information, maybe by sticking in the wrong mailbox or something. And they put their electric bill in his name.
Bro, that's sketchy as fuck.
Then when he got it all figured out what was going on and got him to turn it off or went to go get him to like stop it and tell the electrical company, they couldn't because it was winter and they had kids in the house, so they weren't allowed to shut it off. You can't shut off
I'm just gonna go kill those kids and take care of that real quick, and then you can turn that off.
He literally grabbed a can of gas from my garage, poured it on the side of their house, and lit it on fire. and that's not gonna catch a house on fire because that's like, believe it or not, a lot of the house materials are somewhat just a little bit of gas, a splashing gas on some vinyl siding. Yeah, the siding's gonna melt. Maybe the weathering paper is gonna fucking melt a little bit and burn.
Somebody.
But it's not gonna burn. It's not how it goes. So
it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, but he did that. He tried to. Cops kept calling him, and like he kept calling the cops and talking shit to him.
That's
like he's like, "You're not finding me.
I love that
Try to find me." Then when they finally did get him, He took a shit in his pants in their car. He was that type of person. He would shit when he'd get arrested on
That's a
purpose.
hero. That's an American hero. I had a buddy that he was our wild kid. Like I was really good about like if we got any trouble because of me, it was like the person was like, right, you stop. Like you're just like I knew my limits of like how I could get away with shit. This dude would do the stupidest shit, and he was funny, but he was very dry faced, and he pulled off a half a day of school like this. He showed up at 6 a.m. instead of whatever time we showed up. He showed up in shorts and a red polo, and he found the nearest janitor, and he was like, "Hey, I'm Mark. I'm your new guy." And the janitor was just like, "I didn't know about this." And he's like, "Yeah." He said to just come in, find so and so, and to start my training. And he's like, "All right, well, I guess I'll take you around the school." And like we would see him throughout the day for the first half of the day, and like we knew what was going on, so we obviously didn't say anything. And I got to see it, where they were walking down the hallway, and he's talking to the janitor, and the principal was walking by, and then stopped and was like, "Wait, Buffa?" And he's like trying to keep walking. He's like, "Buffa, what are you doing? You're like, you can't. You have to be in class or something, like kind of shit." And he's just like, they finally comes out and everything, and they wanted to suspend him. This is like towards the end of the year, and they wanted to like kick him out and everything, and he's just like, "Man, that's fucking hilarious."
Yeah,
like, what are you so upset? Like, that was what sucks about my school is a lot of people, a kid from Chicago who was kind of a shithead too. He was funny, but he wasn't a bad kid. He was just a shithead. He wore, at the time, the Cubs had a pitcher named Fukudomu or something like that. I don't know how to say it, but it's spelled like that. And he wore a jersey to school for it. And one of the teachers like called him into his office, and he was like, "So you're gonna tell me what it is, or we're gonna have to keep your parents on the phone?" And he was like, "What?" And he's like, "You can tell me what it is?" And he's like, "I don't know what it is though. What's up?" Like he's like, "I don't fucking know what you're talking about." He's like, that saying on your back." And he's like, "Saying?" He's like, "I don't like." He's the whole time he's like, "I have no fucking clue what he's talking about." He goes, "What's the bit? What's the joke? Like, what word is that supposed to mean?" And he was like, "You mean Fukudomo?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "I think it's supposed to mean in Japanese a relief pitcher for the Chicago Cubs." And like it got to the point to where like he was also like screaming at him and stuff. All the teachers found out and shit. So the last day of school, they banned that shirt, by the way, because of that man's pride, which was hilarious. So the last day of school, the cool teacher that we had, we're all doing this like meeting or this fucking assembly, and he comes out in that fucking jersey and plays ping pong against the teacher the principal that got mad. And like, dude, like that principal was like, "Fuck it, it's our last day. I will fight you." Like you could see it in his eyes. Like he was so fucking mad at it, and it was just like, this is a public school. Like I'm graduating from these men taught me. Like, and they're fucking. It's ridiculous.
It's kind of like the kid. Did you see the kid that was in like fourth grade not too long ago? I think it was one of the Colorado Springs schools. They tried to suspend him and pulled him from class and had his mom come in because he had a patch, like a jean jacket patch or whatever that said, was "Don't tread on me," the "Don't tread on me" shit, and they said it was basic. They claimed it was the same thing as the rebel flag. And they're like, it's nothing to do with the rebel flag at all. And they're like, it has ties to slavery. And he's like, no. And then the mother came in and was like trying to like explain what it is. And then finally, I guess somebody in the higher up was, not a complete moron. It was like, no, it has nothing to do. I believe "Don't Tread on Me" comes from Revolutionary War.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a snake, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, because it represents the 13 colonies.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
So it's like, I don't know. People are real. I think right now too, like anything that looks old and on a flag is sketchy to people.
Yeah.
Like
Heavy metal band Metallica from their self-titled fifth album. The title is connected with the American Revolutionary War. The words "Don't tread on me" constitute the motto of the Gadsden. There it is, the Gadsden flag. That's what the name of it is. And the snake image on the flag is pictured on the cover of the. Okay.
Can you imagine being a pirate and coming back now and be like, "You mean we named our flag the Jolly Roger?" Like, just like, wow, that's embarrassing. Like, we could have named that something way cooler, like Skull and Crossbones. We could have just called it that, and it would have been metal as fuck. But we were like, no, this is the Jolly Roger, motherfucker. Like, what the fuck you gonna do about that?
It's the historic expression of American patriotism. Today may be used as a more general expression of personal freedom and individualism.
which means racism.
To one of the sides, one of the cults that
Used
are
to
out there.
mean personal freedoms used to mean terrorism back in the 11 days. Now it means racism.
Yeah, don't you love that? If it's somebody else, they are terrorists. If it's us, it's freedom fighters. It's like,
Like, bro, but that person's insane, and we're like, he's a hero, and it's like he flew commercial to Iraq. That's not a hero. Like, that's a fucking mentally handicapped person. Sure, they're doing something good, but I don't know who flies commercial. And I like there was something I was watching about I think this is back when we were still fighting that war, where like people went rogue, and like they just started their own unit, and went over there, and it's like, how did you get guns? Like, I guess it's probably not hard over there,
what, in Iraq?
or like that, yeah, because that's like all warlords and shit and stuff like that. Like Soviet era weapons are just flooding that area, but like still, you're a white dude walking into the middle of a town in fucking Afghanistan. You're just like, let me hold that AK-47. I would probably bet 9 times out of 10 they're like, you can get the fuck out of here. Like, you didn't
No,
touch nothing.
actually, if you look at like I once did I looked up like Iran and Iraq and Afghanistan. Afghanistan was a beautiful place. It was like very
Looked like Paris.
yeah,
Like, that was
yeah.
nuts.
It was very most of those places. And you got to think Iran, Iraq. That's that area, ancient Mesopotamia, is literally the world's oldest known civilization. Like when humans went from hunter gatherers to actual, agricultural,
Yeah.
having farming and stayed in one place instead of, I guess, following the animal herds. And yeah, you get the ancient Sumerians were right there from the same area. So they have some of the most, they did have some of the most historic like artwork and ancient fucking, but we went in there. It's really weird right before the whole, then after 9/11, we went in there and basically blew up a bunch of shit and destroyed a bunch of artifacts,
High-fived
the
each other.
the oldest human artifacts in the world. And then the people that own, the family that owns Hobby Lobby, stole a shit ton of it, was on the black market. They got busted not too long ago and had to give it back and pay millions in fines.
Like, you own a Hobby Lobby. What are you doing?
Yeah.
I there's a comedian named James Acaster from Britain, and he talks about how like great. He does a big long joke about Britain stealing everything and stuff, and he's like,
What the fuck?
There we go.
What was that?
And I think it's this cord's a little fucked up because it keeps moving and then that's what it goes out. On a Sherm SM58. Folks, there we go. Out again. And back.
That's weird.
We'll be right back. After a word from our sponsors. Vess Soda. Did not pay me to say that. And asked if I would stop saying that, actually.
What?
I was just doing a Vess Soda commercial. But like...
VES stands for venereal...
exposure...
syphilis.
It's just an awful cacophony of words. That's what Vess is. It's like Vess Soda.
Syphiliphidates.
Like, that's what that stands. I've been drinking this for years. Doesn't mean Mad Dog. It just means MD.
Yeah, and there ain't nothing special in this either. This is regular old fucking VES pineapple soda. This is like
right.
my favorite. I got the bottle because they didn't have cans. I like the cans. I usually get whatever they have in the fridge when I find them that do have them, and I get them to that perfect temperature where they're just like when you crack them and you take a first sip, you feel it all fucking turn it into a slushy because it's so cold now.
Get those little slivers of ice going in. Yeah, oh god, that's great. I like to drink mine out of 2 styrofoam cups. It's exactly. I love that shit. It looks so stupid whenever I'm doing it, but I feel so cool. I don't even understand it. Does it bleed? Does the lean bleed through styrofoam? And so they're like, we should probably double cup these. Or is it just like they're just grabbing 2 cups and they're like, fuck it, I got 2 cups now, and that's become a status symbol somehow because that's just what happens.
Let's see. Why?
That shit, like, I remember when Lil Wayne was like, I think he said it in a song. He's like, I keep my shit 2 double cupped.
Yeah.
Because of that Voss. And then now it's like on shirts, everybody's got 2 styrofoam cups. It's like you ain't got no drink in there. You ain't got no sip.
What would you call it? Lean?
I think it's lean, yeah.
I thought it was scissor from when I was a kid.
That was
like
chopped and screwed shit. That
was
like Memphis.
Yeah, that was what it was started off.
That shit was dope. So like a big thing in my high school football team.
Do you feel that?
Mm-mm. You're like, we're making something special tonight.
No, like.
Oh, it's me doing this.
Oh, I was like, dude, I was thinking, is this fucking an earthquake? Do you feel that?
I shake my leg a lot. In my high school football team, our big thing was a kid named Pierre Desire was like really into like the music world, and he would find these, and he got all of us that did this. We'd find these like, now very famous artists, but like I used to have like Outkast fucking, just fucking single tapes and shit, and we'd find like these Memphis rappers that were like dark. Like 3-6 Mafia when they were still going by like 3-6, like meaning 666 kind of shit. Like talking about murdering people with masks, not popping their collars. And we'd find these and we'd play them in the weight room. And there'd be times where our coach would come out and he'd be like, all right, next song. That is not going to happen today. It's like it's a song about just murdering somebody, like sneaking into a house and raping somebody. And it's like, Jesus Christ, this is Redman. Like, what the fuck? Like, this shit was, I loved those days.
Now this can't be right. What is it? Why do people drink with double cups? This is like the whitest shit ever. What's double cupping? It's what we refer to when a customer encases an iced beverage with a foam cup to help insulate the drink. This is a habit that was born and is mostly seen in parts of New England. 2019.
That's like something some white stepmoms did, and they were like, oh, let's put that on the website, not realizing that there's a whole world of double cups that means something completely fucking different. Like, for extra installation. That's not what they're going for.
Look at that. What is double cup? This fucking website. You can't stop what you don't know. Tall cop says stop. Look at this.
The fuck is this?
This is the
That's that. Oh boy,
What is double cup and why is it so popular after this? That's double cup,
that's
y'all.
why it's so
That's
popular.
double
Because
cup.
that looks.
Double cup.
Who doesn't want to hang out with that
What
character?
is this website? This is
You tell me that cup walks up to you with a purple head and he's just like, "What up, player?" You're not like, "What the fuck
President
is
and
up?"
CDO International Festival, written by the tall cop Jeremiah Calloway. A true double cup reference is the stacking of two styrofoam cups that contain promethazine with codeine, then mixed with soda, commonly Sprite, and a Jolly Rancher. The double cup is what is holding the product. The promethazine with codeine portion of the drink has many slang terms: drank, lean, purple stuff, scissor, and dirty Sprite. Promethazine is a antihistamine that is commonly prescribed for doctors for allergies, sleep disorders, skin itching. See, codeine, any kind of morphine, all that shit makes Percocets. They all make me itch if I ever take them and throw up. So I don't like anytime I've ever taken a fucking Percocet. Like it was because I had like my back hurt or something. I end up puking all fucking night, throwing my back out, even like being in worse shape.
Anytime I took fucking benzos, it always made me just so much fucking cooler.
The U.S. many rappers, including Texas, have been highlighted as promoting this drug trend.
Like, is it that cool? Is lean that fun? Like, is it? I've never really been interested.
They
I've seen a bunch of people be on
yeah,
that
no,
shit.
it's a huge, huge. Like, let's see. I bet you. Let's see. What is double cup? Why do people? What is a lean sipper? What is the meaning of it? What does a pint of lean cost?
Unfortunately, it's really big in like young rappers right now, and you can tell like just by their interviews and shit.
Codeine street prices. How much is codeine per?
A lot.
What's the fucking answer? Cough syrup that contains codeine usually costs between $250 and $600 per pint.
That's that Martin Skrillex money right there. That's that price
Pre-made
gouge.
lean sells on the street for up to $1,000 per pint.
Martin Skrillex.
$1,000 for a pint of fucking cough syrup. At least it works.
Like back in the day, like
That, have you just saw? I showed you that shit earlier, right? How Tylenol, fucking all of them, all those fucking pseudoephedrins, like that shit works for nothing, something else.
placebos.
I think that that's not Sudafed that the tweakers use. Not that shit, but the other shit that you can actually buy over the night, like that they have the other kind of Sudafed that they've changed the ingredient in some.
I shockingly have no idea what goes into meth at all.
I thought it was just grown.
I mean, the closest I've ever gotten is an episode of Breaking Bad.
Oh yeah, that's
Not a specific one, just the first one, and then I never watched it again.
what goes into it.
I've seen Shake and Bake happen live, but I've never. I didn't pay attention to that because I was like, that man's gonna blow his hand off.
Yeah, I lived in an area that was many of fucking meth labs that had been blown up. It got real bad there when that Breaking Bad shit came out. I remember because I wasn't out here then when the Breaking Bad. I was out here during when Missouri and Jefferson County and like Franklin were battling for #1 in the country for fucking
Just a
meth.
neck race that was.
Yeah, and it was bad. Like, cause I remember there was as a little kid, because me and all of my boys in the summertime, we always chill down at my apartment pretty much at the basketball hoop, and we played ball all day and night.
Yeah.
And like clockwork, damn near once a month, there was always the ATF and the FBI and DEA come down there, and they all would wear these black shirts, and instead of got milk, it said got meth on it, and it was real like right there, and they would come and literally and hit the apartments that we all lived in. And there was so many of them. They'd come out like cockroaches. They'd have them all zip tied, sit out on the fucking curb.
You got so many.
Like, man, I wasn't even there doing it. I was just trying to buy some sugar. I mean, like,
I work here. I
was just
fixing
letting
the
him know about his kids. You know, I don't even know him.
I was just fixing a sink. What was he doing? He was actually fixing a sink, but he is a tweaker. Like the sink did not be fixed. Like we just in there fixing it. Dude, I got kicked out of a head shop once because they had a shirt that I walked in and said, one, it said, shoot your local heroin dealer, which sure, like, I get the, like, with people who mix fent with heroin, fuck you. Your local heroin dealer, that dude just hustling. I'm sorry. But then one said, we don't sell fucking meth pipes. And I walked up to Bill Bicep and I read it and I looked at him and I go, yeah? And most of us aren't fucking 50-year-olds working at a head shop. How's that fucking feel? And he was just like, I think it's best you leave. And then I just started yelling bong because I thought that was still illegal. And he was just like, you can say that. And I was like, fuck, this is awkward now.
Yeah.
That's pissed me off so much.
He shouldn't. You know, I like I said, I'm an advocate of fucking. You look at the studies from Portugal, like of like legalizing everything, controlling it. They don't have no big. I bet you there's not a fentanyl problem, huge fentanyl issue in Portugal. I mean, there might be some, definitely. I'm sure there is, but
not everybody.
Yeah, because not when they have access to it, because they what do they have, the clinics to where they can get it, where they get the drug from, they can be also treated, I believe, and because they know that's like
spend way more
the
money.
best time to get to a drug user, because they're not, you know, when someone in that position as like a junkie just looking for the next, doing it just on the streets, street walking, checking for change, breaking into cars, doing that just to get what they can for the next hit, that causes a lot of crime and a lot of fucking public damage and shit like that. Just personal property damage that happens, and then the crimes. So they were like, this is ruining all these people's lives because they got all these bad marks, and then a lot of them would get clean and sober if they helped them, and they would get good, but they couldn't get good jobs. All right, so what they did is they pretty much wiped everyone's slate clean with those kind of charges.
Portugal's got it right.
They watch. I mean, everything improved. Property values, like fucking their lifespan, the crime and addiction and sexual transmitted disease, everything fucking improved damn near. I'm sure there's some bads. I'm sure there's some negatives.
It's still
like I could be saying all that, and they'd be like, actually, it failed horribly. Everybody is addicted to fentanyl.
And to that, we say we're fucking comedians. Probably not worry about what we're saying right
Not
now.
at all. All right, Portugal's. Let's. Portugal.
And yet here we are in America, where the closest we've gotten is RoboCop accurately predicted what was going to happen in Detroit in 20 years, and that's pretty much nailed it. To where I'm pretty sure Detroit right now is like, do we build the RoboCop? Like, is that what we do now? Because all we have is Sweaty Teddy, and he's losing his mind. Although he's my hero.
So in July 2001, a new law maintained the status of illegality for using or possessing any drug for personal use without authorization. The offense was changed from a criminal one with prison as a possible punishment to an administrative one if the amount possessed was no more than a 10-day supply of the substance.
Look, you're not sharing needles. Somebody's there that's an angel to help you do it, and then you don't go to jail. Like, that's a win in my book.
Yeah,
because like the amount of money that we honestly spend on just the issues caused by sharing needles is ridiculous. It's to the fact that like when people found out that we were probably going to give people clean needles and they lost their minds, and it was just like, do you realize how much money this is going to save us? Like by giving them options to use clean needles in areas that dirty needles is a major issue. Like that's huge. Like. And you're just mad because it's fucking drugs.
Did you see the fucking? Just seen a news fucking segment. I don't know what it was. These motherfucking people that are shooting up are going into the public restrooms, and they use the toilet paper roll to clean their needle to get all the blood or whatever off of it. People are using that shit and getting fucking STDs and like sick. Some people have died. Like killed kids, I guess, that have because it still has the other, you know.
That sucks. Hopefully that's one of those things where it's like, well, we didn't even think of that.
Because you talk about the boofing, that's basically the same thing.
Yeah,
It's just got to reach a mucous membrane.
I mean, mine it was just an oral syringe. I don't know if that's the same thing if it goes into your butthole.
Well, a female vagina.
Oh, I don't know anything about those.
I'm all fucking stoned.
Well, what the fuck was I gonna say? Oh yeah, but boofing, you should try it out.
You should definitely try it.
I think so. I've been thinking about starting a clothing brand lately, and like, part of me just wants to have big, like, just shirts that say boofing, like a celebratory, like the fucking confetti,
like pop, like the comic book, bam,
yeah,
boom.
Like that's fucking hilarious. And like,
Dude, that's somebody would steal that idea if they heard it.
If I could find,
I'll do it right now. I could do that shit on my fucking iPad.
I think what I'm
Or
gonna do.
this isn't an iPad. This is I don't know what this is.
The Android. What I'm gonna do
This is the Android because it won't hook up with my Mac Mini or my fucking iPhone.
if I fucking Androids, if I can, well, I can do it to where if you send me a photo, I think I'm gonna start off by doing custom bootleg rap shirts, like those old like Snoop Dogg shirts that would like look drawn and shit. I could do all those on Photoshop, and like I've done a few for people in high and dry just as jokes and shit, and they're funny as fuck. Because a lot of times I'll put fucking halos over them shit, so they look like the dead ones, which is kind of fucked up. That I'm using that as a joke, but like also at the same time you're culturally relevant. People are gonna make jokes about it, so let a white guy make some money off your misery. And then after that, I've kind of like E and H look like they could be. Like I could draw them in a way that they look like they were saying like,
Yeah.
But I don't know how yet. So it's like that's the company idea and everything. But like the boofing shirt, just boof with a picture of like Britney Spears or some shit for some reason. Like,
sorry, I'm reading this drug policy and seeing how it went. Despite encouraging results, conclusions indicate that these policies are marked by contradictions and ambiguities that have permeated its history ever since the very beginning. The modest ambitions, particularly regarding the implementation of harm reduction measures. Moreover, the polemic Supreme Court judgment that reestablished in 2008 drug use as a crime with the quantities at play exceeded those required for an individual's use for 10 days might have impacted the landscape of drug use penalization. The last decade saw an increase of punitiveness targeted at drug users, including criminal sentences of jail terms. We finish with some suggestions that could be employed in the practical application of the drug policy.
I think that what's crazy about drug addicts is like, I believe that it's like something that, you know, they are treated like criminals and they're not a lot of times, but also like there is a bit of me that's like, stop fucking holding these people's hands. Like there is a bit of that needs to happen, but there's also it needs to be like, stop telling them that it's a fucking disease.
Yeah, dude. Look, this. Yeah, stop saying they're sick. Like, it's a disease. No. You don't go outside without your coat on when it's cold or when COVID's out and I caught the heroin flu. Like it doesn't go around. It's not a virus or a flu you catch.
You're never gonna be standing somewhere, somebody's gonna sneeze and then immediately be like, I need to suck your dick for some coke.
You're not gonna lick a butthole one night and be like, oh shit, and have a cut on your wound and then wake up the next day needing fucking crack.
To be fair, you licked a butthole with a cut on your lip. You probably already needed crack.
Yeah, you probably already had some crack.
Crack's fucking whack as shit. That shit is whack. I only did it once on accident, and I didn't even know you could do it on accident. I didn't know you could smoke it in like a regular pipe.
My first time,
you might not even be able to. That's just what happened.
One of the only times, the first time doing the crank or speed. That's what they called it back in the day.
Back in the fucking 80s, man.
Yeah, not 80s, but like the first person that ever put it down for me, I was at a party and I was like chopping out lines and shit. He's like, here, you want to try this? And this dude chopped me out a little bump. And I was like, bro, I'm spelling names over here and I'm already fucking
What's your daughter's name?
I hit this dude's bump and my whole face is on fire. Like, what the fuck is that? And that's what he called it, was crank. And I was like, what? I was really pissed off because like I said, where I grew up, that's all I had seen of drug users growing
Yeah.
up. So like I didn't fuck with this shit for the longest time, up until about college, like everybody else.
They were hiding that glamorous life of drugs.
Well, not even college. It was like until I was in my 20s that I really start fucking with drugs and doing blow, because I seen where I lived, there was a bunch of junkies. It was a very rough kind of place. And the people that did the drugs there were fucking
drug users.
Yeah, they were actual like streetwalkers. This is where all the people, like when they're on their last down before they go to jail, hospital,
the ones
or the
turning
grave,
into crocodiles or whatever the fuck's going on. Like that shit.
That area, they that's all I've seen of drug users. I didn't know, like not until I started like really got into construction and bounced around in a couple different companies when I first moved out here, did I realize like a lot of motherfuckers use meth. A lot of motherfuckers use heroin. A lot of motherfuckers use shit that I don't, a lot of people use crack. Some of the best artists when it comes to like handcrafted, like you go in and you see these houses with these staircases and they're all fucking huge architectural, like unique building, like the only one of a kind. They come in there and they do all this handwork with all the fucking trim and finish carpentry. Crackheads.
They're on that.
The best ones I've ever met. And they would,
meth.
they would get contracted. They come in and literally they would do the project. They get a down payment, a security deposit. They buy themselves the crew leader always bought a huge fucking sack of crack. And they would get the lights. They would have their lights going. He had a shit ton of different spotlights, Kids drive brand new fucking BMWs, Jeeps, all that shit, all jacked up. And he's got $1 million home. This dude's got like phenomenal, like big money. Dude's got
self-control.
Dude's fucking cracked out of his mind. He'll go and do like 5-day benders in that house doing that shit with his buddies.
Won't see anybody else that lives
he
in the
doesn't
house.
leave. They'll bring in like cots and shit if they and I was like,
it's like a little WAN party.
Yeah, because I get like anybody that has done a real bender knows you nod off, you doze off for a little bit, you get some power sleep, like you'll get an hour or two and be like, fuck yeah, I can see again. It's not, everything's not blurry.
I feel fine.
I can read.
Yeah,
I can totally look.
I feel pretty normal.
Look at your phone and your text messages are just all blurred and shit.
Forget about that.
Yeah.
The first time I ever the first time it got so bad. It's the last time it ever got so bad. I don't know how many days I was on, but I could hear people. I heard somebody distinctively whistling in the room next to me, like threatening whistles, I guess. And they were outside my house, surrounding my house. And Angel was like, we weren't together at the time. We had broken up.
It's psychosis.
She had to come from work. That she worked on Main Street, and I lived down the street. She left work, came down there, found me in my basement, which I did not go. It was an unfinished basement, like hiding, because I was like, dude, people. I had a Discord open at the time, and like I was kind of newer to Discord at the time, and I didn't understand everything, and I was also in psychosis. So I had convinced myself that 3 servers of completely separate servers had all joined forces to go after this new guy who none of them knew and like knew was coming. So then like I was like, what the fuck sent you? Like people DMs and they're like, who are you? And like it was fucking. It was like it was there. To me, it was like that person was in there. I don't know who it was and shit. And then like I slept, and the next day I was like, all right, that was never happening again. Like I'm not doing that shit no more. And now I sleep.
I've never been like, I guess because since I did so much growing up as a kid, I was on so much Adderall. Like even when my doctor had to get my medical history, not the newest, but I got on Adderall. I got a prescription for Vyvanse, not recently, but like 6 years ago. And I had to get my medical history transferred from my old doctor to them, which it took forever because I don't remember my doctor from when I was a kid. And that was the first time. This is the first time I had a doctor in like 15 years. So they filed to get my fucking medical history. It gets it. And I'm not gonna do the accent like I usually do because that's racist. And
Just a Scottish accent.
he was just like, "Holy shit! Like
Yeah, a little bit.
you shouldn't." He's like, "I can't." He's just shocked. It was an Indian dude that was shocked as fuck about how because they had me on 2:30s in the morning before I went into school, and then 2:30s at lunch. I mean, well, yeah, after lunch because I would eat, and then when I got home after school, and then if we ate dinner and I had like project or something like that to do or school homework, a lot of homework, I was supposed to take one before, like not before bed, but and it kept me like it leveled me out like but now I get what that is. That's just fucking tweaking.
So if you catch that fucking Indian doctor off guard, or like if he's like, "Holy shit," that's like catching like an Indian shop owner like being able to pull off a robbery at his shop. Like that shit's just not heard of. Like
He's
him seeing that and being shocked by it, that'd be I'd be like, all right, I don't know if I should. You should have said that because
well, yeah, well, he's seen the age I was at it too because he'd already hooked it up like before getting my like full medical history. He knew I had been on Adderall before. I told him that and all my other previous shit, and so he gave me like these like the Vyvanse shit that was like the first. I was like, yo, man, this ain't gonna do, doc. Like, sorry, man. And he's like, no, this is all I can do until I get your full shit. And he looked at it because I fell out at basketball practice with like heart palpitations. I had to have like went to the hospital and shit with chest pains and all that, and because they were that bad, and they took me immediately off of it because it was so much, and it was just like now it was like, well, have fun withdrawing off of that and figuring out how you're gonna get through school because you've been on it since you were in like fucking first grade, your whole life, and then like you're like junior year, no more medicine, more.
It's 2 weeks
like
of
sorry,
not gonna like Brad.
Yeah.
Dude,
Not only have I learned my whole life this way, like on this substance, I also want to know. I would like to get a study, like they need to put a study out about kids like me that were put on this kind of medicine for that much, their addiction rates and what their, how they, because I don't feel anytime I would say being addicted or I would consider myself not addicted, but I like to do them because I don't have that. That's why I don't understand the whole sickness and disease thing. Like, no, you do drugs because you fucking want to. Like if I don't want to, I know I won't do them, and it's just gonna suck.
It does suck.
But sometimes that's what you got to do. That's part of life, like sucking. But that doesn't mean it always has to suck. You can have some fun.
Yeah. I mean, all it is like I've got better at like the fact that, or I used to get better at the fact I'm good now, but I used to like, if I didn't have it, I would just be like, well, fuck, it's over. But then like now it's just like, yeah, I don't have it, but I'm gonna get it again. So it's like, chill out, play a video game, you're fine, and like that's worked. But I also,
when I was doing it, like, and I would go and like I didn't know, like the dude wouldn't answer, nothing like that. I would if you let me go full 24 hours without it, maybe 48. I got no reason to fuck with it no more anymore. Like I'm done. Like you've wasted my time at this point.
I'm on RC cars now. You got to find.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. Something else is giving me the dopamine, fucking dump that I need.
That's just. Oh, that's a fucking. I like to do this thing where if I can't think, if it's like something on the tip of my tongue, I refuse to look it up until I get it right because that dopamine punch is like the only I get anymore, and like shit like that, like little shit like that, and like I'll just. Sometimes I don't get it, but it's like, you will someday. And then like 3 weeks later, I'll just be sitting there and be like, Joey Fat One. God damn it. His last name's not Fat One, but that's what, he's one of the NSYNC guys.
Joey.
Because it, like, I know, like, I mean, I'm sure you do it too, but like now that I'm writing like stand-up again a lot and like I'm letting my brain do that, is like, I think on a daily basis, I think about the dumbest, like, a lot of topics. I think of a lot of topics, but like I will take anything that's I see on the news or anything that I see that's important, and immediately my brain is just like, what if you farted on it? Like something dumb. And it's like immediately it's like, wow, like this is like I don't even have a serious reaction to shit. People could be like, hey, Israel's going to war, and I'd be like, Israel? Don't you mean like I took off without landing. But you know what I mean? Like it's and I sit there and
but
I
what
think
if
about it, and I dig
what if
deep.
Palestine farted?
Like yeah, like fart on it, like stupid shit like that, and like, and I'll sit there and I'll just, yeah, what if, for 30 minutes, and like nothing funny will come out of it, nothing productive will come out of it, but I come out of it feeling good about myself somehow. Like, I still don't have a job. I just sat there and thought about Danny DeVito's height versus weight versus dick size in like comparison to his wife's height versus weight versus vagina depth for like a good 30 minutes. Like like there was a mathematical equation coming out of my head, and it was just like, bro.
And it was gonna go right into Fibonacci.
It's something. It was going to go into say it might have fucking solved world hunger. I don't know how a math problem would solve world hunger, but I don't know how math works. No one does. I don't think. I think that's one of life's great mysteries.
What, math?
Yeah.
They say it's like the language. It's like it's an actual language.
I thought you were going to say love language, and I was like, if anybody ever says that in front of you, hit them in the face.
No.
It's like a love language. No, German's like a love language. It's the most romantic language ever.
It's a very brute language.
I've kind of had an idea for a joke for a while that I don't know if I'm going to be able to do, but I don't think Chinese people understand Chinese. Like, have you ever seen them talk to each other? Like, they're just like,
that's
what?
So fucking
like,
true.
Like,
Yeah,
I don't think any of them understand.
like how does it? For real though, because like they
all just look like they're just not understanding what somebody's saying and trying to get away. Like, okay, all right, yeah, like everything. And it's like, I don't think Chinese people.
I don't think that they're not saying it like it. You know how they can write like a couple words in one little like
Symbol thingy.
symbol thing.
They all look like hashtags.
Yeah, like that. Like that's how they can say one syllable. They can just be like, "Pow,"
Yeah,
and they know what they said a whole goddamn sentence. And it's like, how does that work?
on a different level of communications. We're still over here saying like "sup, bro," and they're over there talking about symbols and similes, probably.
Somebody told me. Oh, who was it? I can't even. I'm not gonna say that joke.
They have a fucking swastika in their flag long before like the Nazis did? When that, or is that Aztecs or something like that? It's like a sun god, I think. So it might have been Aztecs. Swastika came from something that wasn't.
Oh, it was around for many.
Like
Yeah, Hitler adopted it. He didn't make it up. Like,
I'm not saying. Never mind. He had some good ideas. That's one of them, right? Look, it worked.
Whoa, who?
It worked. Hitler, it worked. He did. It worked. Like, that's a good idea because it worked. He was like, that flag is going to look hot. And we still, to this day, can't buy it on kmart.com. So, like...
Why the fuck,
like,
dog? You're tripping. That is hilarious.
Like, that shit...
Canceled. With what's going on in Israel right now? How could you?
We'll cut that out until that shit's figured out. Then we're gonna put it right back in.
They're gonna figure. When they're gonna figure it out? When are they gonna figure it out, dude? They've been fucking.
When America comes to figure it out.
Yeah, America gonna have to figure it out for them. They're gonna need some democracy spread over there. But no, they won't because there's nothing there that we want. They don't have anything. It's a shithole.
Not even that crying wall.
Well, I've always.
Is it called the waning wall?
Isn't it? What do they have? Like, because that was like, what is it? Like Andrew Schultz did a joke about it being like the worst deal Jews have ever made was taking that spot. Yeah, we'll take this right over here. And then they found oil,
Yeah.
like
Wait, what?
and the Arabs found oil. They're like, yeah, you didn't do such a good job with that one, did you? But
if it was
what is there? What do they have? Oh, it's the Holy Land in a book that like most of the like a majority of people don't even believe in anymore.
It's just a story about a father and son gaslighting everybody.
I thought it was a bunch of. I thought from It's like a bunch of stolen stories from the Sumerians that's kind of been rewritten multiple times.
It was a way to give people laws without being like, hey, you do this because we said, because they didn't think it was going to work. So they're like, scare them.
Well, they were poems and shit like that, and stories that they had that had like morals.
Poems.
They were like, yeah, like they had, you know.
You gonna hit me with a haiku?
No, these poems were like fucking, I guess, like clay tablets upon clay tablets. But no, they had the writing too, like Chinese writing. Like they had that. They had these clay tablets that are like fucking this big, and somehow they knew to put them in clay tablets and to bake them or. You know, to fucking harden them the way they did, cook them.
That's fucking, I don't know. Dude, the shit that people did back then makes me believe that they were more civilized than we are now. Like, they just didn't have the internet. That's literally the last thing that they lacked. Like, it
didn't allow so many stupid people to congregate and to, like, really
know where each other is.
Yeah, and tell each other their stupid ideas. And it's like...
two stupid people together, that's a problem. One stupid guy that's like, oh, that's just Gary. Let him say that. Like, Gary's going to say that shit.
But you get 100 fucking Garys.
You might fucking have an issue.
Did you know that bar that we did that show at, that fucking venue?
Where he almost died?
Yeah, where Gary almost died. That fucking place lost its liquor license that night. They just got it back.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, all because of that.
That's fucking hysterical. Like, you lost your liquor license because a grown man jumped another grown man and then cried in your parking lot after winning the fight.
And guess what dumbass does on the fucking 3 different podcasts?
Talks mad shit about it or something?
Says he swung first and was on acid. And had a gun.
Okay. I'm going to say this.
And a warrant.
He was not on acid. He did not swing first. He didn't cry. I'll give him that. What we couldn't tell because his eyes were swollen.
I thought he lost an eye. Really, I really did. From what it looked like, it looked so much like his eyeball was fucked up.
I was like, did somebody punch his eye out? Like, God, damn,
I thought somebody
leave that boy
fucking
alone.
grabbed him by his face.
That would have been kind of funny.
Dude, with the way they were all over him, I felt bad for the dude for that shit.
Yeah,
because because he was going up after me because I had just cut my 30 or 20 minutes short to like 15 or whatever it was, because dude kept talking shit and there was like, what are you supposed to just power through? He's just gonna keep talking. So yeah, I fucking approached it. I fucking said a few things, talked some shit. I fucking hurried up and did the last few jokes and left. And then he came up and was talking shit to the guy. Yeah. He went up and talked shit to the guy for 30 minutes straight or whatever.
Never seen such a...
and then out of town, in this dude's fucking hometown and shit. He's drunk as piss. He's a redneck. What do you think is going to happen?
He's clearly got something going on.
But he was going up and talking shit because he was talking shit to me. And, and I just brushed it off. But see, I'm not dumb enough. For one, I remember leaving. See, I left my gun here because we went across state lines, and I remember that.
Yeah, that was...
Because we had to go pick up old girl down in the fucking hood.
Yeah, she seems like she's... How she's... I don't know. I love her.
She's cool as fuck. One of her episode of the podcast got was like the top views.
I got wild.
Yeah, dude, she passed out. She got pretty schmammered here and passed out, and then I was like, well, I'll just let her crash there and sleep it off.
Yeah.
And Jules wasn't having that shit, dog. She's like, she would get an Uber or leave. That bitch drove off, and I was like, yo, because I was like, you can't make her leave. Like, and then she had already got woke up, and she's like, she was leaving. Like, you weren't telling her to sit down, because I was like, no, she's been drinking. When Jules figured that out, I was like, what? No, we can't let her leave. Like, that would be.
That is a little like.
But there was no telling her at that point.
Like, yeah, I don't know. I get why you would be upset too. I'd be a little upset, I guess. No, I wouldn't. I don't know. I'm pretty laid back, but I get why she'd be upset.
She would be upset?
No, why she was, and be like, get the fuck up at my house.
Oh, Jules?
I actually don't.
No, well, Jules, of course, it's another woman. I've spent probably 3 hours down here doing a podcast and shit.
Getting to know each other.
And yeah, so I'm sure
Okay.
she wasn't happy about that.
But like, I mean, if you would have walked upstairs and been like, "She's passed out, I'm going to bed," I'd be like, "All right, that's how we're gonna leave it then." Like in my head, but if I don't know,
No, no. Back then, Jules would have been tripping.
sitting outside your door just watching,
Yeah,
you ain't coming out here.
yeah. Too bad.
That's why I don't let people at my house.
I don't. Yeah. Well, I've got. I don't let people.
I
I
don't.
don't like people coming and staying. Like I've let you crash here for a little while, but no, I've had a friend once that things went south, and I couldn't get rid of them by
Squatters rights,
law.
baby.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
weird.
yeah, that and chick. I've had two people do it to me. And a chick did it and it was like she was doing it just to fucking make my life miserable. Like and she barely even stayed at my place. She just had
That's a
been
weird
able to
person.
get enough of her stuff in my place within the few times I had her over and
What did you
she
do?
somehow had a piece of mail with her name on it, which I don't know how that fucking works.
She's got a Netflix.
Something she got something with her name on it, and from my because I just rented I've rented like a room, you know, out of a beach cottage.
What did you do to this poor girl?
I just broke up with her.
Okay, so you were the more poor person in this situation, to be honest. She was an insane person.
Yeah,
I see. I never like. I don't have.
and we weren't even like dating like that. I was just like, yo,
And you back the fuck up. And she's
yeah,
like, "Actually, I'm gonna move it."
and that's what she did, and I couldn't do nothing about it.
I could never, even if I somehow more like had the right to use the squatter rights, I just do not have like that. It's too awkward for
Right,
me. I'm
and it
getting
wasn't
about it.
something like that to where it was like she knew she wasn't wanted, and she didn't care. She was doing it
Cock blocking,
that and just to
steady C blocking.
yeah, just to like this bitch. She just to make my life hell. She was like, "Oh, you gonna break up with me? Okay."
Well, unfortunately for you, I got nothing to do for the next 3.5 months.
Yeah, and I was like, "I'm not breaking up with you. We were never like a thing."
Just think of it as I'm no longer talking to you.
Yeah, it was because I told her I was hanging out because she was getting like starting to get out of my house all the time. I think she'd been there so many.
Like, bitch, you gotta
Yeah.
hightail it on home for a while. I don't need you up in my space. I don't need you to know what I do in my house because then I would have to kill you.
This girl chased me down the street, like literally ran after me.
With a weapon?
No, just ran after me because she wouldn't let me go.
I would have
Like she was like, we were on the beach. I remember,
set a pick.
and I was like, oh, yo, we're done. Like I can't. She done some crazy shit. We got into a huge fucking argument and fight. And I was like, I don't do that. I don't scream and yell. And this bitch had me to the point to where I had yelled at her for a moment, momentarily lost my fucking shit. And I was like, yeah, yeah. And I was like, and the next stage after that is, if you get me to that, we're fighting it. And I'm not, yeah.
We're talking outside, dog.
Yeah, like you get me that mad to where I'm ready to scrap. Well, I'm gonna yell. No girl has ever done it.
Every girl I've ever met has done it to me somehow. Like
I've never hit one. I've shaken the shit out of one though for fucking kicking me in the balls.
that was a baby, so it's all good.
And she would need me in the balls. She got all up in my face and shit. And it was the Durr twins, the girl I was telling you about. After we had like I came here to see my mom's for the summer, and she started sleeping like fucking this other dude, and then he like instead of getting pissed at her and pissed at that dude, me and him became best friends. He's fucking.
That's funny.
We called him his farmer. He'd show up to my house at like 8, 9 in the morning because he was staying at this girl's house from down the street. And he'd show up with fucking bags of King Cobra 40s. He'd be like, I got bags of gold, bro. You want to hang out? And he was just, and they all called him Farmer because he sold pharmaceuticals. And like, that was his thing. And none of us fucked with the pharmaceutical shit. And yeah, dude, we became best friends. It pissed her off so bad. We were all at a party it's such a small place. and she was trying to get up with me and get all over me, and I was like, no, that's what you wanted to fucking, you wanted old dude over there, and he had a chick sitting on his lap, and he wasn't paying her no attention.
So get your dusty ass away.
Yeah, and so we both like blew her off, and she kneed me right in the fucking balls, good too. Like she got like the sausage and the beans, you know,
Back up in
the
there.
tally
too.
and the
It's
whackers.
like, I think one of them's up in my stomach.
Yeah, yeah. So I remember just grabbing her by the shoulders and shush that little like I wanted to give her baby shaking.
You probably should have hit her because that would have been less of of a traumatic experience for her brain. The Durst. That's why she's the Durst. Like she no longer.
I hope she doesn't watch
She doesn't
any
have
of
a
this
speech
shit.
impediment anymore. She's got like a beautiful. She's like, actually, I've always wanted to thank you for that. It just shook it right out of me.
No, we talked and fucking we fucked around after
Well,
that.
yeah.
Of
I mean,
course.
trust me. If you hit me in the balls and you're a woman, like I could care less how it was done. We fucking.
Yeah.
We fucking.
I accidentally slept with her sister.
Ain't no accident about that. Have you ever slept with them at the same time?
Huh?
Have you ever slept with them at the same time?
No, I was so close.
I'm not gonna lie to you. It's the weirdest. It's not a cool experience.
It would have been a very cool
It
experience.
seems like it's going to because the twins I slept with were hot. But regardless, at some point you could be having the time of your life, and it's just gonna pop in your head. You're gonna be like, "This is incest." What the fuck? This is incest. Like I thought this was supposed to be hot. A Bud Light commercial told me it was hot. That's all you can think of. I mean, you still finished because you're an adult. But like, it was just like it was.
Mama
very
didn't
weird.
raise no fucking bitch.
It was very
But-
weird, and then immediately afterwards, I was like, "Now I got to get a daughter to mother." It's like it gets weird. It got fuck it.
He's like,
I was like, I gotta need to take a time out, take a seat.
no, but it was by accident because
Twins?
I remember my boy let me take his truck for some reason. I didn't have no vehicle at the time, and I was drunk, pretty much drunk. Doesn't
Good
happen
boy.
often. This were wild like young days because I dated him when I was like 19, 20, 21 area. I drive at their truck there. I park down the street in like this field, and like no one's gonna find it there. It's right off the main road, just like in this like you know like a culvert pipe that's covered
Yeah.
down the side of the road.
What is that truck doing?
And I crawled in through the window, and because I don't know why, I guess that she said if the window's open, so I went into the wrong room, like. And I didn't realize it, and I crawled in bed with her, and her sister was just like, bet, you know? So I wore it out, and I woke up like the next morning super early. She woke me up like, yo, what are you doing here? You got to go.
First of all, that's not.
Yeah, and because their rooms, one with hers, the girl I was with was all painted, was red and white. And Amber's was white and red, like the furniture was
Yeah.
different colors, and everything was just opposite.
You're in there just like, wait, she doesn't like fucking Reservoir Dogs? Like, shit.
Yeah, I was like, fuck. Well, no, she had a TV in her room. That's when I was like, wait a minute. Because we would always slay in her bed and watch movies and shit because she had the TV in her room.
Favoritism. Good job,
Yeah.
parents. That's why
Those
your
girls
sisters
were
are banging
wild.
one. That's why your daughters are banging one guy. Favoritism. I like the fact that she had this like very like.
Well, Amber dated my brother for forever, like my
you guys just
stepbrother.
fucking kept that shit in the family.
They did, but yeah, my stepbrother's the one that introduced me to them, because I didn't know, they were a little bit younger than me, and she was 17, I was 18.
Summer love.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they came over to the just trailer. We were all staying at, me and all the boys were staying at my buddy Boy Scouts trailer. And while he was a merchant marine, so he was out on a tugboat for like months on end. And he'd come home and basically pay all the bills, catch up, get the electricity and the water turned back on, and then go back to out on the fucking sea. He'd fill it all up with food. We'd throw huge parties for him and shit. He'd get fucking hammered. The whole time. He'd eventually get some pussy, but he wasn't good
Took
at
him a
it.
minute.
Yeah, it took him.
Took that Marine uniform coming out. Put it on.
No, he wasn't like a Marine, a merchant
No.
Marine. He was like worked a tugboat,
All right, we'll just drop the merchant.
like on the Mississippi River, and then out but on the sea, on the ocean.
We're gonna tell everybody you were in a Mark Twain book.
I remember we all called him Boy Scout because he was we were having a bomb. We wanted to have a fire one night. We were getting drunk, and he's like, I was in the Boy Scouts. I was in the Boy Scouts. And he went to go get firewood and branches and shit. And he's like he climbs up into this tree. Can't get down. starts crying and pees himself up there because he's like can't get down and he's got to pee and he's drunk and like these guys didn't drink like Box when I say Lunchbox or Jay or Clag, they didn't drink drunk. They drank, got drunk, and then they would just drink to sustain that drunk. There was no drunker they could get from just beer. And if they didn't fuck with the alcohol, like liquor hard for too often, yeah. So they would just be hammered. I mean, I'm talking, I watched Boggs drink well over like 30 fucking 6-rack or whatever they are, and then open up and start on another one.
It's like, bro, what are you doing?
Yeah, he's like, oh, well.
Party's still going. Everyone's asleep, buddy.
Yeah.
Party's still going.
Yeah, they were, that's
back in the day.
Yeah, he was the one, he pissed, like, I remember I let him stay at the crib for a little while when I was living at my dad's, when my dad was going through a divorce, and we were all kind of just chilling there partying, and Box fucking woke up, walked into my dad's back room where the laundry room was and his office, little office, and he just pissed on the back door. Didn't open it. Pissed on the back door on all these dirty clothes on the floor.
Like, yeah, all right, back to bed.
Yeah.
I've pissed a lot of weird places.
I've only done it once, and it was into my girlfriend at the time, great grandmother's vanity little makeup like thing in one of the drawers for some reason.
I used to piss in a lot of open closets. If your closet was open and I fell asleep at your house, I'd piss in it like a bathroom.
I did shit myself once.
Well, who hasn't?
When I was 16, I first moved out of my parents' house and was living on my own, and like went to a party that one of the older basketball players were throwing. I crawled back to my boy's house that I stayed at that night. Was supposed to stay at that night, and I thought I just got into some dog shit. At first, I was into this dude's car, and I found out later that I was banging that dude's girlfriend at the time without him knowing, and then he let me sleep in his car the whole, like, overnight. I shit myself all over the car.
Dookie on your pants.
Yeah, and it got everywhere because I tried to get out. I couldn't find I guess he has like some special doors or doorknobs or something about his doors. Like they were like Lambo doors or something, but it wasn't a Lambo we were in. It was like a Ford Escort show or something.
Freaking out like a dog in a kennel.
Yeah.
Yourself and it's fucking hysterical.
And I couldn't get out. And I remember passing back out, maybe throwing up some stomach bile at this point, just a little acid in your stomach. And then I remember crawling home, and every fucking it felt like every like 10 feet, I'd have to like get down and puke, crawl a little bit, get up, walk, and then get back down. I was like almost every other mailbox damn near I was fucking puking at. Finally get back to my boy Mikey's house, Big Mike's, and go into his basement, and I go to get into and they smell me and they're like, oh my God.
Bro,
you got to get into the shower. And I was like, I don't even know. And they're like, no, dude, you need to, what did you do?
You need a hospital probably.
Yeah. Well, that's what they said. They were like, that's why they left me. Everyone left me and put me in the back of that dude's car. I guess he had got hammered too or something.
So like, you need a hospital. So we're going to put you in a car. Hopefully somebody gets you there.
And yeah, that dude wanted me to pay to have his shit cleaned. And I remember bailing out. Like, fuck that.
That's on you, man.
Yeah.
I didn't shit in your car. Have prove it.
But it was all up my back. Like it was like up my back to here.
Like a baby.
Yeah, I just threw my clothes away.
Yeah, you got to at that point. I've ever told you my shit in my pants story? Driving to Columbia, Missouri. It's like right after we graduated high school. A lot of my friends went to Mizzou, obviously. It's right there. And every Sunday, there's a bar by my parents' house called Parrots. They did not ID. They pretty much knew we were high schoolers, but they did not have a lot of customers. Every Sunday, they did a breakfast bar with, like, Bloody Marys. So we called it Bloody Mary Sunday. Every Sunday, me and my friends would go over there, we'd get drunk, and then do whatever we did with the day. That Monday was my homie's down their birthday. And so I was going to go Monday morning to spend, like, the day, which is him and a couple homies, and then that night, and then the week, we were going to do shit and stuff. So I get, like... Mikey used to be a drinker. Mikey Mudflaps used to get down. This night I was a menace. Like, I got kicked out of this bar. Like, it's a place that they knew we were underage, and I got kicked out of kind of thing. And, like, I continued going, just nonstop drinking Bloody Marys. So I wouldn't stop doing that. I woke up at 5 in the morning somehow. I don't remember how I got home. I grabbed my clothes, which consist of the clothes I have on, 3 pairs of shorts, a t-shirt, those international trashy woman pajama bottoms with the fucking Cookie Monster on them. I don't even know where I got them, but I had them. I like they're the most comfortable shit in the world. I get it. And that was it. So like I just throw that in there, not even think, get in my car. I'm driving. Have you ever driven to Mizzou?
Nah.
It's boring.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So I'm in the middle of the most boring part, and I'm like, I got music going. I feel like shit, whatever. I go to fart, and like, I didn't shart. I fucking destroyed my pants, and like, and I was like, there's no like. Like that moment of brief, like, there's no way the fuck that.
Because you were like, I'm gonna let this one. This is gonna make me feel good, and you pushed real hard.
Like that was just the most ridiculous fart. Like there's no way that just happened, and then it like slowly fades. Like I realized it, and I'm like, well, fuck.
The heat turns to cold.
Like I can't.
Stink gets stinkier.
I still can't listen to fucking Sum 41's Fat Lip because that was the song that was playing. And like, if that song comes on, I'm like, you got to turn that because I'm thinking that's that would cause me to do it. Like, there's something in that song that caused me to shit my pants. So I'm like, fuck. And I look at you see that little green sign with like attractions head. I'm like, all right. I get up to it and it's one that's just the green sign. And I was like, motherfucker. I was like, so in my head, that means there's nothing there. I get to the next exit and it's just a Burger King. And I was like, perfect. It's like 10:30 in the morning. I can go to Burger King. As I'm getting off the exit, I can see the Burger King. This Burger King apparently is the only place in this town because it is, and this is a school day, jam-packed. Like, drive-through, parking lot, like the most successful Burger King I've ever seen.
Not going to that Burger King.
I was like, I don't know what else to do. So I get in there and I'm like, all right, here's what we do. Every Burger King set up the same. You walk in, you go to the right, there's like 4 tables, and then the bathrooms. I feel like I can get away with people not expecting somebody who just shit his pants to walk in. I got enough time to get to the bathroom. This is where I'm starting to think God's not on my side. Because I grab those fucking sweatpants, or those pajama pants, and I go in, and as I turn, for the first time in my life, I see a line for the men's restroom, and the women's restroom door is basically open. And I was like, there's no fucking way. And I was like, all right. So I like hang out kind of in the men's line, and like I hear kids like, I think fucking brother shit his pants. And I was like, that's my cue. So I just pop into the women's bathroom, kind of like kid the guy that saw me do it, the shush, close the door. I'm in the bathroom. I finished shitting because it was that bad that it came out, but there was still more that needed to come. It was bad. And then I'm like, I had pants. So I'm just like, I'm fucking throwing these away. Like, that's it. I can't even wear these again. And I'm like, you got the pants up and everything. Door opens. And I was like, fuck. The 4 generations of this family walk in. A mom, a kid, grandma, like the whole thing. And like they are in the one girl's trying to get into my fucking, and I'm like, I can't. And like, so the grandma finally was like, I think someone's in there. And I was like, oh. Like, I didn't know what to do. And there was a minute where they were in there and I just sat there. And then I made the mistake of like, I don't know how she called it out. I'm assuming it's because she saw my legs hairy because I like was scratching them at one point. But they leave. And I'm like, all right, give it a second. And then I hear, son, you can come out now. And I was like, is she fucking talking to me? Of course she's fucking talking. There's 3 stalls. Like, and I was like, and she's like, there's nobody else in here. And I was like, all right. And I opened. This is the sweetest old woman I've ever seen in my life. And like, the shit was so bad. Well, I did shit in the toilet. Like, I opened the door and she was like, are you okay? Like, I was like, yeah, I just kind of had like and she sees, and she's like, oh, an accident. And I was like, this is so fucking. And she's like, all right, well, are you okay? She's like, here's what we're going to do. She's like, I'm going to go out and I'll go to where, like, past the doors and I'll start, like, dance. Like, she's going to cause a distraction for me. And I was like, ma'am, it's not like that. It's like, I don't care if people see me leave the women's bathroom with an old woman. I was like, that's not the big deal here. I was like, I just walked in shitting my pants. I was like, so this is kind of gravy at this point. Like, I'm getting out of here.
At this point.
And she was like, as I was like, she got me out somehow. And as I'm getting to the door, she looked at me and she goes, by the way, I'm never, ever going to forget this. And it was like, by the way, shouldn't have told me that. And I called my homie. It's like, please don't tell anybody that. My man had shirts, made up for the weekend of like, you know how it's like bridesmaid, bridesmaid. I was with like friends of friend who shit his pants, and then mine just said shit my pants, and I was like, it's not even my birthday. Like, why are you singling me out? And he's like, because it's hilarious, and I had $40 extra or something. And I was like, fuck you, dude. But like that was.
So there's shirts made about it. That's a good story. That's
I have
good
them
shit.
I have the stories or the shirt somewhere. I think that kid.
Have you ever actually shit the bed?
Like
like
I mean, as a
shit.
kid, probably, but like.
No, heavy night of drinking.
I mean, I've done.
Let a little squirt out. My ex was pissed.
I
I guess that's why. She's no longer here.
Yeah, I mean, like that's one of those things where like that happens, and you've got a quick moment. It's like, all right, where are we at in this relationship? That's how I react. Like if if Angel did it now, I'd be like, I'll probably just clean this up and not let her know. That's adorable. But like 3 years ago, I'd be like, you need to get the fuck out of your house because you don't live here anymore. Like. Shit on me, like what the fuck?
I got a gnarly one. This one might not make it in. Old girl giving me head once, right? Starts licking on the balls, starts messing with, taint, hits the booty hole a little hard, slides in with some speed. And catches and it was already holding back a little pressure. It was a little bit of this little toot comes out.
Even weirder.
And she comes out flying like.
That's not what you think.
I was like, "Yo, you just hit a button." Like I was like, "I don't know what to do."
I was gonna do that.
She's like, "Luckily, I'm a mom." I was like, "What the fuck does that have to do with it?"
Now it's over. And it's probably it even sounded weird.
But it made me get hard. Or I was like,
"Fuck it!" I just farted on her tongue. Things are gonna get weird. Like the fact that the added aspect of tongue skin on the butthole makes it sound like a weirder.
No, not just that, but she like hit it. Like she didn't just skip it. Like just a little.
Yeah.
It was like she was like going for it, and it was like
you're expecting this. And
it was like,
and we're not. You weren't on the same page.
And like it hit the butthole, booty hole, just the perfect spot, I guess. The release valve button.
That's terrifying. Because every time somebody goes down on me, and like I might have to fart, I'm like, well, I'm hoping they don't go down that way today. If they do, I don't know how to stop that.
Oh, I do.
I don't have the willpower to stop that. Like, hey, stop putting my penis in your mouth. I'm never gonna say that. Like, I'm gonna be like, I'm risking this relationship.
I don't really
expect
it. I don't expect a girl to even like blow me unless I'm fresh out the shower.
No, I don't expect this shit to happen, but when it happens, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, because then I'm grossed out. I'm like,
oh, I don't know. I don't
bitch,
know.
I ain't showered in a day and I worked all day. You just got the vinegar dick. Like,
dude, there's sometimes where I feel bad that it's just like you put a lot of effort into making sure you're clean, and I have not showered this year. Like, it's like there's been times where it's been like you've put my penis in your mouth. And like, you shouldn't have. Like, yeah. And like she goes upstairs and she's like, I'm gonna go shower. Then we're gonna bang. And it's like we could just bang. And she's like, well, I don't want it to be gross. And it's like I do. Like, what are you talking about?
No, I want her fresh out the shower.
Like, I want it to smell.
That's how I want it. I don't want.
I want to smell
no
that
funks. I don't want none of that funky funk.
You don't get. I don't know. This might be gay as shit, but like, there's something about, and it's always happened. Anytime I've ever been like into a person and with them for a while, the way they smell, like, especially like I don't know. Angel doesn't smell terrible, but like whatever she smells, like it's just like let's fucking do this. Like,
no, Jules doesn't get stinky. She doesn't like to sweat. Well, Jules didn't. Now the chick, she works at a gym.
No, that's a terrible influence.
Yeah, so
it's a person that seems to try to get you to work out all the time.
No, she doesn't try to get me to work out.
Well, not you. You're not friends with the girl.
Oh yeah, but like Jules back in the day, well, she really didn't she doesn't give much of anything. I don't know. Maybe she's got another boyfriend, or
maybe 3,
more husband.
Maybe a wife.
She could. Well, I don't know.
Like, why wouldn't you bring this up?
I don't know how you get it done in like how you marry multiple people, but like our divorce, Wouldn't everything have to be finalized before you get married again? Isn't there like some paperwork or something?
I think so.
Or
You
isn't it?
have to, like,
Didn't they make it a law that you can't get married more than twice, more than once,
unless it's, like,
or
religious
married
reasons,
multiple?
I think you can get away with it if you're a Quaker. But if you're a Quaker, what do you like? Come on, what are you trying? Who's that for? Nobody makes oatmeal anymore. Like,
Yeah, I don't know.
Jehovah's Witnesses used to be like that. They used to like to do the fucking dudes can have many wives, but wives can only have one dude. And it's like, bro, that is an insecure way of thinking. Like, you get to have as many wives as you can, but your wife can't go fuck someone. It's like, bitch, your dick ain't that good. Let the girl go have some fun so she ain't miserable, which is you, while you get to go have fun because you're not miserable, which is her. Like,
I think we got enough. What time is it?
I have no idea. I don't know the clock.
We'll chop it. I'll chop it up.
Chopping screwed.
Chop it.
And now, for what?